Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we are going to attempt to reach over negative 20 degrees of camber on my XB. Now the highest tilt 2nd gen XB that I've seen was about 12 to 14 degrees. Now we want to do that, but even higher, to something that's not been done on this gen. I know camber is a sensitive topic for most people, but I absolutely love it. So who gives a shit? Let's get this shit done. All right, now we also have some meta glasses. So while I am working on the car, I'm gonna be trying to record some POV style content and hopefully you guys like it. I know it gets kind of repetitive doing the exact same things, exact same angles. So we're gonna be trying to do and switch it up a little bit. All right, now the first thing we need to do is get the car up on wood. This. Let's go put the other side. There it is. All right, so we are going to get started on taking apart this and showing you guys how we are going to camber the XB on the front. So we are going to need to take off the ball joint, which should just be 3/19. All right, so that is off. Get yourself a little fork. So that's loose. All right, so as you guys can see, this is how our coilover is set up. We have a 4-inch 30K right here with a good bit of preload just because. Sway bar, ball joint, tie rods off, and then my coilover, which I have a smaller bolt up here to give me like 2 degrees of camber. Now what we are going to do is get one of these. So I just happen to have metal laying around, so I wanted to experiment with making camber brackets. If you don't know what a camber bracket is, essentially you put this in the bottom coilover mount, but you are going to, I'll show you. All right, so you take off this bottom one, right? Now that leaves you with a bunch of space. So what you can do is you can make one of these brackets, and essentially the bracket is just going to put this coilover inward. You see how when you push the coilover inward, this starts to tilt? There you have it. That's your camber. So you got to be really careful with these because you don't want to make them too thin to where they'll bend. Remember, your coilover holds all the weight of the car, so you don't want it to break easily. Now these are just a template. I'll more than likely make some thicker ones, but these are going to be it for now. Just that way I know how much this spacing can get me on the camber. All right, so I ended up taking off the axle because it was just going to be easier. So we got the first bolt in, and now we have the second one. Now let me show you guys what it's going to look like. All right, so basically that's how it is. That's how it would look. Now when you put the second one, it'll help align the bolts up a little bit easier. We need to make a little tube that goes in between these right here so the bolt doesn't bend. There it is. All right, so now as you can see, you see how much space this has in between, so it's pushing this outward. And then with this one, we can push it in a little bit more, and then that should give us a good bit of camber. So now we're just going to tighten these up. Alright, so then the next thing we need to do other than the camber bracket is going to be these. Now these are a low life ball joint extension. You can get these for a 2nd Gen XB, a TC. They use the same ball joint, so it works. Basically with the kit you get a bunch of bolts and washers and spacers. Now I'm not going to fully bolt it on. This is me just basically trying these on to see if they work and seeing what we need to do to make them work. So they go right here, they line up with your ball joint. You would basically put a washer in between the bolt and the ball joint extension. Get those there, right? Then we are just going to tighten one bolt. That way it kind of holds it in place. Yep. Alright, so we just hand tighten one bolt. Pretty good, pretty solid. Alright, so axle's in. That's good. So the hub is basically on. Axle can't fully go all the way in because this bracket for my coilover hits the frame. So we would have to cut this little piece off. I am eventually just going to delete my sway bar because the sway bar is going to be really difficult to get in there, and when I turn it might just hit here, so rather delete it. Won't really need it. And obviously the ball joint extension isn't fully on either, but we are going to put on the wheel and see how much camber we got. Now this is all test fitting. This isn't going to be the last of it, and we are going to have to modify a lot of stuff to get this thing to work, but it's going to look sick and I can't wait. The wheel is hitting something because I can't even put it on all the way. What is hitting? Oh, it's hitting the coilover. Nice. See, and then my coilover is already hitting the frame right there. So we'll see. Let's just bring it all down, see what it's at, and we'll go from there. Because obviously it's tilted, but it's not really tilted as much as we want it to be. There it is. Alright, cool. So that is on. We're just gonna put 2 mind you, ball joint isn't properly put in, tie rod isn't connected. And there's probably something else I'm missing. So alright, so as you can see, it's cambered. Now, obviously this is just a mock-up and we have a lot of stuff we need to figure out, but you guys get the gist of it. Now, to see how much camber we're at, then you put it to the level, put a block of wood against it so it's truly flat, and then you put this. See, so like right now, that's 11, 10 or 11. Oh, and I forgot to say that right now the tire is hitting the frame on the car. So we're gonna have to take off the fenders, cut the frame, and then do the rest, which is a lot. And this is nowhere near the amount of camber that I want to run. My goal is kind of crazy, but I think it's doable with a lot of patience and cutting and trying to refabricate the front suspension. And then the rear, which the rear I'm the most excited about because it's something that's nobody's ever done, and I'm sure people have thought about it, but nobody's been as dumb as me to try to do this shit. And I can't wait till we start the process on that. But first we need to figure out the front. Once I figure out the front, that's when we'll full send the rear. Nobody wants to camber these stuff like I do, or at least that I know of. And why not record it so people can figure it out? You know, there's no point of gatekeeping. We're all trying to learn. We all have the same passion, and we all can learn from each other. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it and you are ready to see how the XB turns out, hit the like and subscribe. We'll be back for more.